Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Live. Today here on Music Marketing TV, I am your host, Carlo Libertini. If you're able to join us live today, thank you so much for your time. We at Music Marketing and FabFilter and myself greatly appreciate you joining us here today. And if you're going to join us later on in the future, just thank you for hanging out with us then too. Just remember to leave your creative comments below, and we'll be sure to get to every single one of them. And yes, in case you're wondering, it is cold and flu season here in the Northeast. But nothing would stop me from wanting to be with you here this afternoon, and especially kick some tires with the amazing FabFilter Pro-R here. We're going to dive right into this reverb and have a lot of fun. So again, leave your creative comments below or just chime in. The chat room is open and we are ready to roll. Now let's talk a little bit about FabFilter. If you don't have FabFilter, or if you want to learn more, just visit the links below. We've got some dealers and some more information for you to, dive right in and have some fun. So be sure and do that. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us here in our Music Marketing TV family. You won't regret it. We have over 1,000 pro audio videos, 100% free, just waiting for you. Plus, you'll get notifications for future live streams like this. And really want you to join us. So thank you for that. Now, what we're looking at here is FabFilter Pro-R. It is a plugin. Okay, I confess, I am a reverb junkie. I don't think I know any audio engineer who isn't. And why? Well, fundamentally, reverbs are essential because what they're doing is helping trick the mind, if you will. Because when you put an instrument in a space, then it sounds more real, and it's kind of an element of security, I think. We're like, oh, okay, I get this now. It's in a space. And I feel it is the original immersive effect. There's a lot of talk about immersive audio these days. Well, reverbs have been around for decades and decades, and they are the original immersive effect. And let's find out why. Now, here's a demo song that I'm writing. I've got some acoustic elements because I think acoustic elements really respond well to reverberation. I've got some acoustic guitars, some drums, and of course, a really kicking bass line by the beautiful and talented Laura Kane. She's an amazing local indie artist here in the Northeast. Thank you, Laura. And let's dive right in. Let's take a listen to what we're going to be working with. Is the acoustic guitar. Let's bring in the whole mix now. Here we go.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm feeling fine, but I don't know why. I need to breathe and move a different part of me. Deep inside it is something that I wanna free. I'm feeling fine, but I just don't know this time.
You know, I opened up by talking about how reverbs are the original immersive plugin. I'm going to deactivate all the reverbs on this just to give you a before and after comparison. This is without any reverb.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice.
That's all it is. Deactivate my plugins here in Studio One Pro. Let's bring them in. Ready? All right, now bring the Reverb Pro-R back in. Ready? Here we go.
I need to breathe and move a different part of me. Deep inside it is something that I want to free.
Now, of course, I do have some limiting and a little bit of mastering going on my master bus. So there is a little bit of a volume change there, but did you hear how immersive it became? All right, so let's talk a little bit about the interface. For those of you who haven't used Pro-R before, I think that it's the kind thing to do. And what we're looking at here is, first of all, it is resizable. Down here in the lower right corner, I just love it. You got a medium, a large, and an extra large. Now, I'm using a 4K monitor, so I have this set to extra large right now. Basically, Pro-R kind of touts itself, and it really does represent itself as a beautiful, it's a high quality algorithmic reverb. It can sound incredibly natural, but there are elements of it that you can push into the more effect range too, which we'll get into here with the character dial a little bit. So reason why I think it works well is because when you want to tuck your reverb in the mix, having a natural sounding reverb as high quality as this allows you to contour and really blend it in with the other instruments because, there's different techniques for using reverbs. In the old days, you'd have one reverb and you'd pipe everything into it. But these days, you have a choice of having different settings for different instruments with the same plugin. And that's the advantage of digital. So why don't we go start with the brightness here. And as you can see, it's just a typical knob. It goes from 0 all the way, I love this, all the way up to 100%. And let's see. And you can also double click to input the value if you want. Now, what brightness kind of does, in my opinion, is it's kind of a bit of a, by the way, I held control on my Windows computer and clicked it to set it to default. It's kind of like a tilt EQ in a way. Why don't we bring this in on the acoustic guitar right here? I'll solo the acoustic guitar, and here is my acoustic reverb. And let's adjust the brightness so you can hear the difference. Now we're listening to the reverb here. Kind of dark. And I'll tell you why that's important in a second. Let's bring it up. Oh, it sounds so beautiful. Why that's important is because in a real world working scenario, in your world, in my world, in the laws of physics, higher frequencies are naturally absorbed faster and better, leaving a lot of the lower energy. So most natural sounding reverbs really do well with contouring the low end of the energy tone. So keep that in mind. And here's another really great tip, by the way. If you don't want to grab this and swirl it around with your mouse, sometimes it may seem a little clunky. I love is you just hover over it. When it illuminates, use a scroll wheel if you have a scroll wheel, and you can set the integers 1% at a time and even fractional. You can really fine tune your settings. So that's my first tip for you right there. Now, with the character, it's kind of 100% 0 is going to be the most natural sounding. I'll bring my mix in a little bit more. Ready? Now, what happens when you go a little bit lively, it starts to introduce more natural reflections. Lively meaning things start popping in a little bit more audibly, if you will. So I like how they have lively here at the top. And then when you push it past that, it begins to introduce a bit of a chorusy effect. Because as I mentioned before, you can use this as a slight effect. Maybe subtle, but you hear a little bit of a chorusing on the guitar there. So the character really does impart a unique character. Remember, all the way down here is going to be 100% natural. And then anywhere to lively with some more early reflections happening. And then a bit of a chorusing, which could sound great on this acoustic guitar. In fact, why don't we leave it up there? Leave it at about 79%. Now, distance, this is really important. Think about if you were in a very, very large room, but how close you are to the sound source. So if you're really close to a sound source, but in a large room, it would still sound different. If you're far away from the sound source in a large room, it would sound different as well. So you can actually move your listening position closer or farther away. And this will change the immersive effect, again, of the reverb. And all that ties into here, which is the space. Now, if you look at these little icons here, they represent rooms. Here's a tiny room here, all the way around up into a large cathedral icon right there. And if you just select them, here's another tip for you. If you just select these room icon, it'll pop right to them. All right. So you can see that this space, which is kind of medium large, I'd call it, has a space of about 1.85 seconds. Let's take a listen. Now let's bring it down to up to a cathedral. Look at that, 10 seconds for reverberation there. Yeah, it's about 10 seconds. FabFilter rocks. Okay, but you also have, if any, variation between these room sizes. I love the customization here. Let's say you got a room here. Let's say a medium big one to a medium room. And as you blend it in, what's going to happen is it'll blend it seamlessly. So you're creating a unique room size between those two. And it'll automatically calculate decay parameters for you. So it's all handled internally there. Let's do it in real time. Here we go. It's gonna get bigger as I move it up. Let's bring it down to the smallest space. Now, why is this important? Because from a let's see. Awesome. Thank you, everyone in the chat room. Thank you so much. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Micah. I had to take the last couple of weeks off because obviously I had the flu. But again, like I said, nothing would stop me from being here with you guys. I absolutely love these live streams. Thank you, everyone, for your support. Okay. A reverb will do something really cool. If you have a mono recording, which this guitar is, you can actually stereoize it in a way. Think about this. Let me bypass the reverb on the acoustic guitar. Here's without any reverb at all on that acoustic riff. See how it stereoizes it? There's mono. And now let's put it in an environment. Let's immersify it. And you can play with that stereo field with reverbs. You can pan reverbs. Yes, you can. Just ask the 70s. Maybe we'll do a demo of that in a minute. Okay, so that's a little bit about the space. Now, of course, above that, you have an undo and redo, A/B, so you can listen to different tweaked versions. You could copy parameters. And of course, what would be an amazing plugin like this without some pretty awesome presets? I mean, look at this. I just love it. And of course, the default setting. And then you have options here too, as well. Completely customizable. Next to that, we have to get the decay rate, which obviously will adjust how the decay of the reverb behaves. And then the stereo width. This is great. You could have a mono one right up the middle, add some more depth or body, if you will. Here it's right up the middle there. Okay. Perhaps if you're at home, I don't know what your listening environment is right now, but I do recommend headphones when we're talking about time-based effects like delays and reverbs here. Headphones are a great way to reference this. If you're in a studio environment, then fine. But I do think you'll get the most out of it with headphones right now. Okay, let's adjust the stereo width. And I'm going to use the mouse scroll wheel trick. I'm going to make it's getting bigger. Let's put it in a bigger room. So here's mono. And here's stereo. Up to 120%. Now, why 120%? 100% would be stereo. 120% would really push it out of the way. And that's also a great technique for when you're making space in your mix for other instruments. So you got a little bit, 20% extra headroom there with the width if you need it. And then, of course, the mix knob. This is great. We can blend the dry in with the wet signal. And notice there's a little lock button here. If I activate this and start scrolling through different presets, the mix value will remain the same. So I don't get confused. I hear the same mix level for every preset change. And again, if you can unlock it and lock it there. All right. But underneath, you'll notice we got this beautiful graphical display. The blue line represents the decay rate EQ. Again, why is this important? You can create up to 6 different node points to carve out a decay frequency, because it can help you create a more natural sounding reverb. We talked about how high frequencies can be more naturally absorbed, and I'll do a demo of that right now, actually. Now, to tweak this, you can just grab the nodes, and why don't we do that right now? Let me set this to a relatively large, okay, I'm going to take the decay rate frequency right here, for example, and just as one node, I'm going to create a more of a boxy, tight environment. Check it out. That does sound more natural. Do you have to do this every time? No, this is audio production. It's creativity. Do what your heart tells you. But I want to show you how the decay EQ here can really create a sense of naturalism, if that's what you were looking for. All right, let me undo that right here with this feature. Let's do that again. I'm taking the highs around 20, almost around 3K down. Let's go to about 3K right about here. And you could double click the value and put them in as well. You also, if you right click on that node, you can disable it, change the shape, or delete it too. So that's how you control that. Let's bring it in. I'll reduce some of the decay highs. Sounds nice, doesn't it? And to create a node, just double click, and there it is. And you can use to adjust the Q. I have a scroll wheel on my mouse. I could just roll over it like this, and you could specifically target particular frequencies and do some subtractive EQ editing here, if you will. I think that's nice because when you're creating space in the mix, and reverbs tend to overlap. If you don't think reverberation is cumulative, you're wrong. If you have 9 different reverbs in your mix, you've got 9 different jobs to do. So tools like this here in FabFilter Pro-R can help you sculpt it out every time. And so that's the decay one. Let's talk a little bit about the post one. Now, if you notice down here under Analyzer, right here it says Reverb and Post. I could turn the Analyzer off so you won't see any visuals here. You could turn it to Pre and Post. It's giving you the EQ value pre and post the parameters here. And next one would be Reverb and Post. See a beautiful ghosting here with this wonderful, wonderful animation. I love that. So speaking about putting a reverb in a mix, why don't we go to the post EQ now? We talked a little bit about the decay EQ rate here, the blue line. Let's go to the yellow line. Now this is the end result of your reverb. If I wanted to create a note here, I could double click a note, right click on it and choose the slope and the shape. I'll leave it as a low cut. And why don't we try to reduce some of the mud here if there was any of the reverberation sound. I took all that low end up. Listen to this. It's got a nice, pleasant, but warm, high-end reverberation there. Let's bring in some of the low end back. So I might do. I like that. And of course, I would do this in conjunction with the other tracks playing back. That's quite a bit about what we covered here. For those of you who aren't familiar with FabFilter Pro-R, this is really easy to use, but super powerful and high quality reverb. And I have to tell you personally, FabFilter products are everywhere. I've yet to work in a studio where I haven't seen a FabFilter plugin of some sort. So again, check out the links below if you don't have FabFilter yet. I think you'll be happy to jump on board with an amazing plugin like this. Let's bring it in the mix now. And again, we got some acoustic drums, some guitars here. In fact, why don't we solo. Let's see, I'll solo the drums. Go right across here and bring in the acoustic guitar and just hear those elements. You could see that I actually have it on my conga here. I'm sending it to a conga verb. Why? Because the conga was mono. Slightly mono-ish. Stereo, but it's right up in the middle pretty much. You hear that? And if you notice on my conga track, I'm also using FabFilter Pro C2, which is a compressor. I wanted to level them out so the hits were more equal in energy. Okay, just give that a little bit of some leveling. And here is the conga track with Pro-R. You can see my character, I've gone past lively, so it's a little bit chorusy. I could bring that down for more natural. And the stereo width's at 70%. Why do I think stereo width is key? Simple. If all of your reverbs are being hard panned left and right all the time, you will build up a lot of unwanted reverberation energy there. I think it's really smart and creative to place your reverbs in the mix. Maybe the conga doesn't need to be so wide. Maybe 70%, 70, 80% will do. Again, let me use my scroll wheel, go to about 60, let's say about 60, 68% right there. And the size, I have it set to relatively large. Okay, not an overly punchy dynamic conga hit. I know, I created that with some MIDI tricks there. But I want to show you that you can obviously, percussive elements respond incredibly well to reverberation. All right, let's bring in our drums here and our guitars, actually. Let me take the bass guitar out. And this is what we got so far. Here we go. Oh, it's shaping up really, really beautiful. Let me take solos off of all of these. And let's talk about our bass guitar for a second. Again, on the bass guitar, I've got the Pro C2 by FabFilter going on here. Again, this is performed by Miss Laura Keene. Laura Keene's an amazing human being and a super talented bass player here in the New England area. I love working with her. And you can see that I'm sending this bass as an effect now here to Pro-R. Is without. Is with. What am I doing? I'm adding, you see, I set the character slider here to all the way. This is going to add a bit of a chorusing effect to it. Now I'm going to reduce my mix though, and the stereo width is obviously all the way down. We could really, really shape something nice here. Let's take a listen again to the bass guitar. There it is. We're using this as a chorus now. Is without. Great bass sound. I'm going to chorusy this a little bit right here. Ready? Or kick it in. And of course, if I increase the mix, I'll get more of that chorusy effect, or less. I like it right there at about 71%. So now we're using FabFilter Pro-R here as an effect on my bass guitar, because again, when you push the character and past lively, it does introduce this really kind of musical and smooth sounding chorus to it. I like that. All right, so here's the bass and the acoustic guitars and the drums. Here we go. I'm going to deactivate the reverb now on those instruments. And here it is before. I'm leaving on the post mastering and limiter a little bit, but here's everything without Pro-R reverb. Now let's bring it in. Ready? And you hear everything blends better, glues itself in. Here we go. It's a little before and after for you. Because as I mentioned before, Reverb is the original immersive plugin. And when you understand how to create a reverberation using the tools that FabFilter provides you here with Pro-R, specifically with being able to EQ the decay very uniquely, and then globally, the post EQ is essential. If you haven't tried it, I think people need to spend a little bit more time crafting their reverbs, because it can make the difference between a mix that pulls you in and a mix that sounds okay, sounds good. Because you get to make a great mix with the right kind of character, distance, but post and decay EQ settings. So spend a little bit of time with that. If you haven't, really look into it. And another tip, of course, is the stereo width. Not all reverbs need to be panned super wide. You heard it from me. All right. Now let's go on to the vocals a little bit here. This obviously is my demo. It's me singing. And so deal with it. Here's a preliminary setting here with Pro-R on the vocals. I also have it sent to an analog delay here. And this is my favorite analog delay that's included in Studio One Pro. Super awesome delay. But I'm going to deactivate that and just work with the Pro-R reverb on the vocals. Here's the vocals dry.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me.
All right, let's bring in Pro-R here, and let's craft something that would really help these vocals. Here we go.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me.
Now you can see I'm using a preset here called Tight Drum Room. Let's go to presets. Under small, we have, let's go to Studio A. I got to think about presets that are called Studio A, B, and C. It's just feels normal to me.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm
scrolling through the presets here with the arrows. You can go forwards and backs with these arrows here in real time. Super great. Stop when it feels right and then tweak it to your heart's content. Here we go.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me.
These presets keep the voice rather intimate. I like that, but I want to kind of immersify this a bit. So let's keep scrolling.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm feeling fine, but I don't know why.
Oh, that's not bad. I'm going to increase the mix on vocal gloss a little bit. And characters all the way off, so it's as natural sounding as possible. And let's see where this is.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm feeling fine, but I don't know why.
Oh, nice. I'm going to bring the width in a little bit and tweak this to taste. Here we go.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or
like that.
lose a part
Okay, so I'm
of
going to
me.
leave the stereo width for now at 50%, but that could obviously change when we're hearing it in the mix with the other instruments, which we should do right now. Here we go.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a
Bring my
part
mix
of
up.
me. I'm feeling fine, but I don't know why. I need to breathe.
Here's without on the
move a
vocals.
different part of me. Deep inside, it is something that I wanna free.
Here's
I'm
with.
feeling fine, but I just don't know this time.
So aside from being the original immersive effect, it does kind of glue things together in a really beautiful way. It's a really cool trick, though. Let's talk about practical applications with reverbs. And obviously, if you haven't tried this one, it's really cool. It's super easy. Ducking reverb. In other words, when the vocal comes in, ducking a reverb means that the reverb will kind of lower itself and then elevate itself at the end of passages. So it's another way of keeping a vocal outstanding in a mix. And that's really easy to do. Why don't we try that right now? And the way to do that, and now this may be different in your DAW of choice. Remember, whatever DAW you're using, whether it's Pro Tools or Studio One Pro here or Logic, it's the process I'm showing you. It's completely, you can do all of this within your own DAW. But technical, like something specific like this might be a little bit different, but it's still the principle is the same. I'll show you how to do it in Studio One right now. So here I have my vocal effects right here, and I've got Pro-R here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a compressor now, and of course, let's choose FabFilter Pro C2. Why not? So what this compressor is going to do is we're going to sidechain this to the vocal track, and then it's going to duck the reverb when it hears vocals, and then release the ducking effect when the vocals aren't present. Now to do that here, I'm going to open sidechain and set it to external. And under my sidechain settings, I'm going to have the vocal here, track 10, right here, trigger the effect. And typically this works really good with a very low threshold. I'm going to set my ratio kind of high here. And I'll just arbitrarily set these settings. I'm going to push these, okay? Now, settings going to be different, but I'm trying to exaggerate the effect so you can hear it. So all I did was sidechain this compressor on the reverb track to the vocals. All right, let's take a listen.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me.
Right there, that's what I want to show you. This graphical user interface here in Pro C2 is showing me in real time how it's riding the level of the reverb in real time. It's riding it. And then when I released it up. And of course, you can adjust your attack time and your release here to taste, which is another thing. Oftentimes, I don't leave it to auto the gain. I like to do it manually. But in this case, I'll leave it on auto. And let's hear that one more time. Let me solo the vocals so we can hear the effect of ducking the compressor. Here, I'll pin this here. And let's bring in, obviously, because the star of the show today is Pro-R. Put that right behind my head like this. And let me pin it. And now let's rock and roll. Here's just the vocals.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me.
So you can hear it's ducking out of the way. Now remember, I exaggerated the effect for this presentation so we can hear it. So I'm exaggerating the effect. But in real time, why don't we set the parameters? Here we go. I like the reverb. I'm going to do it all with the compressor.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm feeling fine, but I don't know why.
There. So these two plugins are now working together. The compressor is automatically level riding the reverb level for us, and it's ducking it out of the way to make the vocals more outstanding in the mix, and then bring the reverberation tails in when there are no vocals. All right, so let's bring in the whole band and let's check out our reverb ducking technique. Here we go. All right. This is fun.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm feeling fine, but I don't
just a little bit.
know why.
A technique like this can really make your mix sound more alive.
I need to breathe and move a different part of me. Deep inside it is something that I wanna free. I'm feeling fine, but I just don't know this time.
Automation of any sort, of any kind, is the key to helping your mixes really, really come alive and feel great. And in this case, we're using a compressor to automatically duck the reverb down a little bit, and you can make all your settings to taste. Again, I was just doing it to exaggerate a little bit, but it sounds really, really great. All right, so we did some reverb on the vocals, we did some ducking, some acoustic guitar. We even talked about some bass guitar effect. We pushed the character past from clean to lively all the way to where it says chorus right there. Give it a nice, smooth, rounded, chorusy feel. Talked about the brightness and, of course, creating space here, choosing your space algorithm. Carving out reverbs in a mix, I feel it's probably one of my favorite parts of mixing. But remember, a little bit does always go a long way. I may be pushing the parameters today in this example for us in this live stream, but a little does go a long way, because remember, everything is cumulative, even the effects. Now, when you open up some of these presets, for example, like the vocal gloss, we're working on the vocals, you can see that my EQ here, the output, the global EQ here, I'm rolling off a lot here at 147.68 hertz. So there's a lot of reverb mud being removed from the vocals. These presets can help expose you to different techniques, ways of thinking, because the presets are created intelligently. So, I definitely recommend exploring presets every time, and then investigating the presets and learning about them. It's a good way to familiarize yourself with the behavior of plugins every time. If you want to learn about plugins, I think presets are a really great way. Whether they sound great or not, it's going to expose you to different characteristics and behavior of the plugin and what those parameters do. All right, everyone. So I guess the best way is to always find out for yourself. We've been talking about FabFilter Pro-R here in this live stream. What I'll do here is I'm going to bypass all of the reverbs and effects here and do a quick A/B. Here is the session without any reverberation at all.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm feeling fine, but I don't know why.
Now let's bring in the reverbs, and I'll bring in all the effects, and here we go.
I hear your voice telling me you wanna be. I have a choice to leave or lose a part of me. I'm feeling
Again, this is
fine, but
FabFilter
I
Pro-R.
don't know why. I need to breathe and move a different part of me. Deep inside it is something that I wanna free. I'm feeling fine, but I just don't know this time.
And there you go. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here in this live stream. My name is Carlo Libertini. And yes, I'll get my voice back to normal pretty soon, I'm sure. Don't forget to like and subscribe, become part of our Music Marketing TV family today so you don't miss out on the next live streams. If you're joining us later in the future, then always leave your creative comments below. We read every single one of them. You're like family to us. So again, best way to find out is for yourself. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This is FabFilter Pro-R. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay busy and stay creative.